Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Main Issue. We're going live on Google Hangouts today simply because iMovie was really lagging and I couldn't make a Main Issue video as I normally would. So we're going to be doing a Hangout video this week, and the Main Issue, well, I've decided to do a match review, and it's about the Arsenal versus Manchester City match that was played today, this morning in Australia, or last night if you're in England. So let's just basically run through what happened in the match and basically how the result came to be. So it's played at the Emirates Stadium. It was a late night match, actually. Normally played in the day, but this was played at night on a Monday night. So it started off, Manchester City, you could say, they definitely had more of the possession, and they looked like they were in control, but they just weren't doing anything in the final third. And Sergio Aguero was in Laurent Koscielny's pocket, so he really couldn't do much, and Arsenal's defence was holding. But Arsenal's attack weren't getting anything either, so there was nothing really going for either team, but Manchester City definitely had control of the game. They had more possession. But then this all changed when Theo Walcott scored in the 33rd minute with an assist by who else but Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil passes the ball around the box. He finds Walcott on the outside of the box. He moves in the box, takes a shot with his right foot, curls into the right-hand side past a diving Joe Hart. It was an absolutely amazing finish, and the crowd went off. It was a brilliant finish, and you could tell the commentators were excited, the players were really excited. Something had happened in a fairly boring game so far. So he scored absolute cracker of a goal, and next thing you know, Arsenal are 1-0 up. And then they just added to this with a second goal in the 46th minute, so the first minute of extended time at the end of the first half. And Giroud scored a goal with a tidy finish past Joe Hart after another nice movement around the box. So 46 minute, and at the end, and as they go into the sheds at halftime, Arsenal leading 2-0, and nobody saw this coming because Manchester City had all the possession. They weren't doing anything with it, but it just seemed like they had all the possession. They were in control of the game. But we've seen Arsenal use this tactic before against really big clubs as well, like Bayern Munich, where they pretty much just sat back and attacked on the counter whenever they could. And it does seem to work for Arsenal. And then we move into the second half. And this half, it seemed that Arsenal had all the control. But it was Manchester City that scored in the 80th minute. Yaya Toure with a classy and composed finish into the top left corner over another diving check. So the ball was passed to him outside the box, and then he was in the box, and it was almost as if he passed it over Petr Cech. He was so cool and casual about it, picks the ball up, ready to start. So it was 2-1 in the 80th minute, and then it got nerve-wracking for Arsenal fans as Manchester City continued to dominate again, and so they continued to dominate in that last 10 minutes, but they just couldn't find the equaliser and then a winner afterwards. So it ended 2-1. Arsenal very pleased with the result, and Manchester City left a little frustrated, although Arsenal did deserve to win. And I honestly thought the result really could have been like 6-7-0 to Arsenal because the amount of chances in the second half to the Gunners was absolutely crazy. And Aaron Ramsey missed a few sitters, so there were definitely a lot of missed chances, and it made for a very tense finish at the end when it really shouldn't have been. Arsenal should have scored many more goals. There was a lot of chances, and they just couldn't take them. So now this leads us to the question of whether Arsenal can now win the league and how this sets them up. So Arsenal are sitting in second position on the ladder on 36 points, and Leicester are in first on 38 points. And it seems like it's almost as if Arsenal are top of the league because people just aren't expecting Leicester to sustain this, run of form. It's just almost, they're Leicester. They can't win the thing. But they can win. I think the testing thing for Leicester will be over the Christmas break when they're really going to have to test their squad depth and also test if they can actually keep their players like Mahrez and Vardy, because if they lose those players to a title competitor in the January transfer window, I'm not sure what's going to happen to their team. It could really go downhill from there because they are a really good team, and Claudio Ranieri has them all together. But Mahrez and Vardy are just absolutely sensational players, and they are scoring most of the goals. There's no hiding that fact. They're scoring most of the goals, and that's what's winning them their games, because their defense it's all right, but they're conceding a lot of goals. It's just lucky that they have a lot of good players up front to score those goals. So now back to the question about whether Arsenal can win the league, because at the moment, I would say that they are the favourites to win the league because they're the only team that is showing consistency at the moment. You see, Liverpool, they beat Manchester City, yet they lose to Watford this week 3-0. So how on earth can Liverpool win the league if they keep, scoring goals there and then conceding goals there? You don't know how a Liverpool game is going to end. Jurgen Klopp's done some great things, but it seems a little inconsistent what they're doing. And other competitors for Arsenal, you've got Manchester City that started off the season really well. They were perfect record for the first few games, and everyone was like, "Season over, Manchester City are going to win." The next thing you know, you've got Leicester, springing above them, and now Arsenal. And Arsenal are 4 points above Manchester City. So Manchester City are in third place, and they're already 4 points below what we thought was a Manchester City title race. So things are always changing, but at the moment, it has to be Arsenal who are consistent. So we'll just run through the first 5 teams on the ladder just so you get an idea. So Leicester on 38 points in first, Arsenal are in second on 36 points, Manchester City are on 32 points in third, Tottenham are on 29 points in fourth, and Manchester United are also on 29 points in fifth. So Tottenham is also another consideration, but it doesn't seem like they have the pedigree of players to win this year. So I guess you could say all that's left is Arsenal. Arsenal they are consistent. They lose the occasional game as a team does, but they are just they're putting out good performances every week. There's the occasional dodgy one, but it's just not as often as some other teams. Arsene Wenger is the king of consistency. He's qualified the Champions League for the past 17 years straight. That is a brilliant record, and I think that this consistency could pay off, and I think that Arsenal will win the league this season. But the big testing point for them, just like Leicester, will be the big busy Christmas period where they're playing a lot of games. They're used to Champions League football, so they, know how to play 2 games a week. But what will be really interesting is squad depth, because it's not like they're going to just sell all their players in January, because they're not. They're going to keep their team together because they have the pulling power to keep their team. But they need to sign some really good players in that window, probably a holding midfielder and maybe a striker as well. Because Francis Coquelin, as we know, is injured. Santi Cazorla can also go in that position, but he's injured as well. So they need someone like a Morten Schneiderlin, who plays for Manchester United, someone like that who can play that role really well and always be there, because Coquelin would definitely be their first choice player. But if they could just have someone else for when he's injured, that could really help their title chances, particularly over the Christmas period where Coquelin will still probably be injured. They'll also have to work with dealing without Alexis, who isn't expected to join Arsenal until mid-January. So that's a big problem for Arsenal because Alexis Sanchez is so key to their team. But today, with their win against Manchester City, they have proven that they can win games without their big star players like Santi Cazorla, Francis Coquelin, and Alexis Sanchez. They have proven that they are there, and, with the likes of Joel Campbell and Matthew Flamini, they can do a good job and they can get results against really good teams. Manchester City, they were a really strong team today. They had a really strong lineup, except Vincent Kompany wasn't there. So that was just one player. Arsenal were missing 3, maybe even 5 that they would play in their first team. So, yes, Arsenal players can be made of glass, and we see this as a lot of their players are injured, but they seem to be coping. And I think this is why they should win the Premier League, because they've proven, it doesn't matter how many injuries they've gotten this season, they've got the right formula. They've got players that can move in and out of positions, and they can win the league this season. So I'd love to know what you think about Arsenal's chances of winning the Premier League, or if there's other teams that you think could win the Premier League, and what your thoughts are about the Arsenal versus Manchester City match. You can tweet me at Joshua_M_sport. Make sure to subscribe, comment, share, and I hope you didn't mind the hangout. It's a bit longer than usual and unedited, but I hope you didn't mind the hangout. It's iMovie's fault, I guess you can blame. So I'll see you next time for another video of the main issue. Bye for now.